If you see me walking down the street and I start to cry each time we meet, walk on by, walk on by. Make believe that you don't see the tears, just let me grieve in private, 'cause each time I see you, I break down and cry. Walk on by, don't stop. Walk on by, don't stop. Walk on by. I just can't get over losing you, and so if I seem broken and blue, walk on by. Say goodbye. Oh, walk on by. Don't stop. Walk on by. Don't stop. Walk on by. Don't stop. Walk on.
All right, y'all. I am here. Good morning. I wanted to come and speak to y'all real quick about something really important that has to do with when you guys have gotten to the point where you are calling on your spiritual husband. Okay. So many of you guys have gotten through the false reality. Hey, good morning, Stefan. Good morning. Yeah, I'm going to be asleep like literally in 30 minutes. I got my Pop-Tarts and I got my cup of milk, but I thought I would come and hit this up real quick for y'all. And I'll be asleep because I got to get up at like. Anyway, let's get back into the subject matter. Um, for those of you that have, like, for some reason, there has been a heavy emphasis put on your love life. Everybody has made a big deal about your love life. It's always been a weird thing. Some of y'all have even came across that have done the most, like literally the most. Okay, just too much. Like, and many of you guys have gotten through, or you're either trying to get through, like the tail end of this struggle with either a highly oppressive, very abusive person. Could be like a male in his family, right? Or it could be just for whatever reason, right? So you should call on your spiritual husband, especially if you are getting through that situation. Calling upon your spiritual husband will definitely help you. Creating your spiritual husband will definitely help you. Okay. Um, Also, if you are a witch, you can apply the same concept to a spiritual coven that is needed, because basically for some reason, and it really depends on a lot, but for some reason basically you have been targeted for isolation, right? To just be isolated, to pretty much have no one, right? And at some point you're gonna need somebody. Trust me on that. Okay. Nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that you need somebody, but it is good to make sure that you have some kind of support system. You're going to need a support system. That's whether or not you are a male or a female. Okay. So don't stay stuck in that, oh, I don't need nobody, I'm just going to be alone. No, because that's going to affect, depending on who you are, that's going to affect your children, that's going to affect your life, that's going to affect your future. You know, your children should never have to make up for um, people that you are missing in your life, right? Like, for example, I have a 25-year-old son. I can't hold him back his entire life because I wanted to be strong. I can't do that, right? Yeah, no, I can't stand when I see that happen, to where, you know, people make the mistake of pulling their child back. You know what I'm saying? And your child can't have a life because you're trying to fight your spiritual battles, and you got too much pride. You got too much pride, right? Yeah, no, we're not doing that. So, you know, sometimes it's good if you your, first of all, your spiritual husband, the purpose of that, it's not that you need a man to complete you. It's not that, it's all about balance, right? And it's all about healing. It's all about creating this person that can back you up. You've taken many, many blows yourself, and eventually you're going to break down. Eventually. Okay. So basically, a lot of you guys are at the tail end of this false reality that was created, and you're walking away from this extremely diabolical fake person who is like literally over the top abusive. This person, whether or not it's male or female, has been implanted in your life to abuse you, to harm you, to be as abusive as possible. Okay. So you already knowing that you got to get out of that situation. You already know, right? Create your spiritual husband now. Do it now. Especially if you're a woman and you got kids. If it's a man that has said things to you that's crazy, please believe that eventually he's going to try to cash in. Some of y'all, unfortunately, are nothing but sacrifices for these men, because they have certain beliefs, and belief is very powerful. That's just like my gods and the gods that I work with, especially being that I was born on a Thursday. They spoil me. I ain't gotta sacrifice nothing. I ain't gotta sacrifice my loved ones. I ain't gotta sacrifice my dog, my cat. I ain't gotta do none of that. I don't have to do it to have the things that I want. My spirits brought me into this world to spoil me and those around me. But there are some people that feel as though, or maybe their story is different, that they have to go through all these changes. They got to make a blood sacrifice. And you know what? That's just unfortunately their reality, right? That's just like the spirits that I work with. They don't require me to pay them nothing. It just is what it is. It ain't saying that I'm better and don't, or worse against nobody. I ain't saying that. It's just that my spirits don't require that of me. For me to pay them nothing. I ain't got to sacrifice. I ain't got to do none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it just is what it is. Right? But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, you're getting to the point where you know that you have to leave this person alone. You have to leave them. You have to break free of them. Create your spiritual husband now. But I want you guys to choose the correct zodiac element as well as the signs for your spiritual husband. Guess what element your spiritual husband, if you are a man, I'm sorry, if you are a woman that's creating a spiritual husband, he should be of fire element. Do not choose, if you're a woman, listen, I don't care. Because a lot of y'all will say, well, I need somebody sensitive. I want a sensitive Cancer. No, you don't. No, that's not going to be the correct one. Okay, it's not. He's too sensitive. Cancers are too receptive, and they're too easy. It's too easy to possess a Cancer. They can be placed under possession, especially men. No, you are going through a spiritual war. You need a warrior, and he needs to be a fire element, not air. Air people are too easily influenced. They're too easily to convince of something. They're too all over the place. No, he cannot be air. He cannot be water. Maybe earth, maybe with some earth elements, but he needs to be fire, either Aries or Leo would be the correct zodiac signs. Aries or Leo. Any other zodiac sign is going to be too weak. Now, if you guys want a Sagittarius, because Sagittariuses have great energy. Oh my goodness, they're one of my favorite fire people. I was born under a Thursday, under Jupiter. So I understand the value of the Sagittarius is what they bring to the table is freaking amazing, right? But here's what I want you to do. I want y'all to understand that you have to be very careful if you're going to choose Sagittarius as the zodiac sign of your spiritual husband, because a Sagittarius, here's the issue with the Sagittariuses. The issue with the Sagittariuses is that if anything is broken, and it's the Sagittarius that just has way too much bad luck. So you have to put more work into a Sagittarius. A Sagittarius that is broken or either has too much bad luck, something is terribly wrong. So you have to be careful with that particular zodiac sign. And part of the reason is because of where they fall, where they fall within the zodiac. Sagittarius fall in between um, Scorpio. No, wait a minute. Okay. You got Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, right? Yeah. I believe that's the zodiac order. So they fall in between that, but it's the fact that they come behind the they're kind of in the shadow of Scorpio is one issue with them for some reason. When you look at Aries, Aries is number one, right? They're the first of the zodiac. It just is what it is. They are placed at that position for a reason. Okay. When you look at Leos, Leos are between the Cancer and the Virgo, which is a good placement to be in. Okay. Sagittariuses are a little different. So when it comes to your Sagittarius, the problem with many of them, okay, is that they, like I said, if they're broken in any way, If they are broken in any way emotionally, you have to be careful with them. You do. No offense, Stefan. I know you're a Sagittarius. I know you're not like that, but you have to be careful with them because especially especially if they went through any kind of trauma. Now, if you just feel strongly that your spiritual husband, that the husband that you're going to be with is Sagittarius, then what we'll have to do is we'll have to work on whatever gaps that need to be filled within him. Otherwise, you're going to run into some problems. You have to have someone really strong. An Aries and a Leo is going to be very strong because the type of energy that you're dealing with will break a person. Now, as far as like spiritual wives, there's nothing wrong with having a spiritual wife. A spiritual wife is not a demon, it's not an entity. That's not what it is. When you call upon your spiritual wife, you're calling forth that energy that is needed. You're helping them, first of all. You're helping them out too because they're wandering around in the world lost. They actually physically do exist. So when you call a man, I would say that if you were to create a spiritual wife, element or water, okay, water preferably, because she's going to have the ability to heal you. Men require healing. Women are kind of self-healing. And, and so she'll be able to back you up when it comes to that. And especially when it comes to women. Women have like a built-in healing system within themselves, within their womb. So it'd probably be best to either choose water or earth. Okay. I've never done this spiritual wife or a husband is a demon or an entity. So imagine when men try to go and get spiritual help from anywhere, they're dealing with other people's sick and off-putting beliefs. They have limited beliefs of what they can do spiritually. So people think that a spiritual husband is a demon. Well, he's a demon to people that are trying to do harm to his wife. That's why. People always want to demonize people that don't let them do harm to them. Oh, this is a demon, this is bad. Well, I mean, you was trying to do harm to this person, so of course you think that it's a demon. Ain't it funny how people can be really, really, it's so weird how people are really, really weird. Your spiritual husband and spiritual wife that you create, that you call to you, is not a demon. That's just like if you want a coven and you need to gather your coven. You can do it in spirit first. It's going to help those actual real people in the world. Eventually, you're going to meet those people. Eventually, those people are going to come into your life when it comes to your coven. Your coven's going to come to you physically. Eventually. Okay. So, when you're doing your spiritual husband, though, a woman, my suggestion is fire. My suggestion is fire, especially if you a person that's been through a lot in your life and you keep saying, oh, ain't none of these men strong enough. They not strong enough. They weak. They weak. Your fire signs ain't gonna be weak, especially one of them Aries. Air signs can be too flaky. Don't do air. Do fire. Straight up fire. Okay. Mm-hmm. That way, when this man comes into your life, he'll be very strong and less susceptible to possession. Okay, or either immune to possession at all. There's certain things you're gonna put into your spiritual husband that will protect him, so that people are not, because trust me, they want to turn them against you. They're ignorant. They want to turn everybody against you so they can corner you and just abuse you to death. That's pretty much what they want to do, abuse you to death. Okay. You know what I mean? Make sure he's a fire element. Make sure that he's very strong. Make sure he's a warrior. Even though he may not even come off as aggressive like that, he may not be like an aggressive person, but he's just a strong person to where, he's not just gonna be easily persuaded or taken down like that. Okay. And when it comes to spiritual husbands and spiritual wives, that's actually a good thing. A spiritual wife or a spiritual husband is actually a good thing. I don't understand why people are all of a sudden demonizing that. It might be because they have some kind of agenda. You need your spiritual husband or you need your spiritual wife. Now is the time to do that. Okay, it's time for a lot of you guys to do that. That person is going to back you up. That person is out there actually lost and looking for you. That's a fact. Anyway, they're out there looking for you. Okay. They have been purposefully pushed out of your life for a reason. The evildoers have studied everything. They have looked at every possible thing that could stop them from getting what they want from you. And trust me, they have looked at that. Okay. That's why it's important to go ahead and create him and just make a decision on what you want him to be about. Because if you just run into somebody randomly, unfortunately, I wish it could be that way. I wish you could just run into somebody randomly but it ain't like that. You can't do that no more. You know, because sometimes when you just run into somebody randomly, they can create a lot of extra problems for you because they're not ready or they're just not equipped to deal with the spiritual stuff that you are dealing with. Okay, because these people up until they're constantly watching you, constantly trying to watch. If you do the right thing to where they can't watch you and they're looking at your decoys that will scramble and confuse them, you got to create decoys in the spiritual, etheric, and earthly realm. Create decoys that are going to confuse them so that they can't watch you. That's the only way they're not going to be able to watch you, is if you create them decoys. Otherwise, they'll be trying to watch you through the cards. They'll be trying to watch you gaze into balls and stuff. They'll be trying to channel you because they're mentally ill. But if they're watching your decoys, you'll get some privacy. Because what they'll be seeing is they'll be seeing your decoys. You'll have privacy to where you're not just being watched all the time. That's weird. That's weird. Somebody that can remote view you, even though you're not doing nothing. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just living normal life. You know what I'm saying? But you don't want somebody just watching you constantly. Because sometimes they're weird like that. See what I'm saying? Especially if it's not familiar to you. You know, there's some people, they try to carry on the aspect of some kind of guardian or something, and they're not. It's very weird. Don't ever fall for that. Don't ever fall for that. Nobody should be doing that unless it's your grandmother, your ancestors, your people are doing that. They're watching you. They're the ones that are supposed to look after you. Nobody in this world that's walking around here farting and shitting is supposed to be watching you like that. Okay. Just letting y'all know. Anywho, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Make sure that you guys hit that thumbs up. And I will see y'all next time. Okay. All right. Thank you for coming, Stefan. Blessings. Bye bye.